Hey all, Dominic here again. Welcome to another video. I hope you're all okay today and I hope you're all having a nice weekend so far. So today's video is going to be something Doctor Who related. And I'm actually going to be sharing a moment that I want to sort of look back on and talk about. And I think it's also nice looking back about when this happened. So today I'm going to be talking about two Doctor Who villains that scared me as a child. Now, when it comes to Doctor Who, one thing that's always made the programme really good is it's always had a lot of amazing scare moments, so it has. And I think, especially with a lot of amazing villains that have appeared in the programme. And it's always, scared people over the generations, over the past 56 years that it's, been going on for, which is quite nice. And I think for everyone who is a fan of Doctor Who, they've always got that moment, looking back, when a villain or a certain thing happened that really scared them. And I think it's nice to look back on it, really, really is. Because when it comes to the classic era, they always used to say about people hiding behind the sofa. Obviously, if they were scared with a certain villain in the show. And that was actually a real thing. So it was, where people actually hid behind the sofa when watching Doctor Who. So, yeah. So for me, which two villains scared me as a child? So the first one that scared me as a child was the Autons. Now the Autons, I think, were a pretty cool villain, even though they haven't appeared in a lot of episodes. But they actually did first appear in the classic era back in 1970 in the story Spearhead from Space, which was John Pertwee's first full story as the Third Doctor, obviously taking over the role from Patrick Troughton. And obviously with the Autons, they made their proper comeback in 2005 in the first episode of New Who. Now, I remember first watching this story and honestly liking it. Obviously, it's my first, proper introduction to Doctor Who, and I thought it was really, really good. But overall, they used to really creep me out. They scared me as a child. They really, really did. And I think it's just, the way that they move, and I think just the look of them, they are really, really creepy. And I think once they end up being activated by the Nestine consciousness, and killing everyone, it's just so, so creepy and so scary. And I think even a little bit nightmarish. I remember there were times where I didn't even want to watch that episode because it just scared me so much. And I remember going into town once with my mother, and we were going into different clothes shops, and I remember being so scared I didn't want to go in, so I didn't. And the reason why was because of the mannequins, the shop window dummies, because that's what the Autons look like. And I remember literally thinking that they're just gonna, come at, they're literally just gonna start moving and gonna start killing people and breaking through the glass and everything. Yeah, that's how that's how crazy that story made me. I would say it messed me up, but it frightened me the heck. It really, really did as a child. And I remember there were times where my mother literally tried to grab me so she could, bring me into the store. And I remember literally shouting and starting crying because I didn't want to go in. Because again, that Doctor Who story scared me so much. It really, really did. And I think even for small children, it is bloody creepy. It really, really is. I think even after, airing 15 years, after 15 years, it still has that creep moment. So it does. Or that creep factor. It really, really does. Because like I said, you would be bloody scared if you saw that coming literally to you or about to shoot you. You would be bloody scared. You know what I mean? It would creep you out, even as an adult. If that happened now, that would scare me. It really, really would. That would scare me so much. It really, really would. But I think they were still a good villain. You know what I mean, for what they did, and I think now, for the past like 8 years or whatever I can say, I liked him a little bit more. I think so. I did. I liked him a little bit more. And I'd love to see him maybe come back in the future. I don't know if they will do, but it'd be nice. And the other villain that scared me as a child was the Weeping Angels. Now, the Weeping Angels, I think, were an awesome addition when it comes to New Who, and I think the concept behind the villain and what they do is honestly quite crazy, but it also scares you a little bit more. Now, the thing with the Weeping Angels is that you cannot blink. You cannot blink. Once you see a Weeping Angel, you cannot turn away. You just can't. You've got to literally keep staring at them for as long as you can. And unfortunately, if you blink, it actually sends you back in time. So it does. And that happened in the episode Blink. So it did. Where a few characters were actually sent back into the past. So they were. In the 1920s and in the 1930s and 40s. And once that happens, you cannot come back. You just can't. So if that happened to me, if I blinked in front of a Weeping Angel and I got sent back to the 1950s, I stay there forever and I literally live my entire life until I die. That's how the Weeping Angels work and stuff. And I think even just the look of them, especially when they move without you seeing them, it's just so weird. But again, great at the same time. It really, really is. And I remember in the episode Blink, when Sally Sparrow and Lawrence are trying to work out what's happening, and especially when the Doctor is speaking on these DVDs, Lawrence, obviously there's a Weeping Angel, so obviously he's got to literally stare at them. And he's about to blink, and he literally turns his head, and the Weeping Angel's literally here. And I remember watching that, and it creeped me out. I remember literally it made me jump. It really, really did. It had that horror factor and that scare factor. It was brilliant. It was bloody brilliant. But it also, scared me, and it scared a lot of people as well. So it did. And I remember at the end of the episode, sorry, the Doctor's talking about other statues, so he is. And I remember thinking, I thought, that's even more creepier, so it is. And I remember one time I was in town after finishing school, and there was a bunch of statues on buildings, and I remember literally staring at them all. I really, really did. I thought, are they going to come out alive? Are they going to start moving? Yeah, that's what I thought at the time. And obviously I knew they weren't, but I remember literally being quite creeped out, so I did. And I felt like blinking. I really, really did. I was like, I couldn't blink because it just scared me a lot. And that's just how it is. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that, Doctor Who, scared me forever. I'm not trying to say it scarred me for life. But I think as a child, it did scare me a lot. It really, really did. And I think for anyone who's a fan of Doctor Who, moments like that are going to scare you. They really, really are. And I think even there's a lot of moments as an adult watching Doctor Who that can scare you. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to say, oh, you're bad. If it's bad if you're an adult, you get scared of Doctor Who. I don't think it is. But I think having that scared factor is fantastic. It really, really is. And it'd be awesome to see that come back. You know what I mean? It'd be great and, awesome. It really, really would. Sorry, pardon me. And it'd be nice that, because I know with current Doctor Who, you don't have that anymore. You just don't. But it'd be nice to see that, make a comeback in the future. It'd be awesome. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Now, two other villains I want to talk about, people might be asking is, have the Daleks and the Cybermen ever scared me? No, they haven't. They've creeped me out. They've sort of like creeped me out a bit. But they've actually never really scared me. So they haven't. I think the Cybermen have creeped me out more. I think it's just the way they move. And I think even their blank expression, because obviously when it comes to the Cybermen, they are obviously, people, they are humans, who end up being converted into Cybermen, and they have their emotions removed. So they do. And they pretty much believe that life is better when you've got no emotion. They pretty much say, oh, well, life is better without joy, without happiness, without sadness, without crying, all that, which obviously is not true. Life is better with emotion, but that's how Cybermen believe, so they do. But I think if I was a child and a Cyberman came up to it probably would creep me out. It would probably, scare me and cause me to cry. Because again, even though again, Doctor Who is fiction, you feel that's going to happen. You really, really do. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but you feel like it does. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But with the Daleks, Daleks never scared me, so they haven't. Like I said, they've creeped me out. They slightly scared me, but that's all it is really. That's all it's done really. So yeah, I like the Daleks. I really, really do. I think the scare factor is awesome. I think with New Who, when it came back on, Daleks had that scare factor. It really, really did. But for the past couple of years ago, they sort of lost that scare factor. It feels like Daleks nowadays, they're more of a joke. You know what I mean? They really, really are. It feels like they're just there for comedic purposes, and that's all it is. Which is quite sad, it really, really is, because the scaring part made Daleks scary. They really, really did. But obviously they don't have that anymore. But it would be awesome to, see that come back in the future. It really, really would. So, yeah. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and stuff. I hope you found it interesting. And I like to share little moments like this with, being a fan of Doctor Who. I always do. Pardon me. Again, sorry. Because I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. And I think it's also interesting to see what other fans, think about with certain villains scaring them. And talking about which villain scared them, you know what I mean? It's nice to, talk about that and look at, different, moments when it comes to Doctor Who for other people. I like that, so I do. So, yeah. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and fascinating. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will be back on Tuesday. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye!